Afternoon and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Just the Blind Press YouTube channel. I'm doing a little bit of a test today. Pincalo has noticed that I have not been showing up in the YouTube notification feeds since I've started multi-streaming. So I've also noticed that the live viewers has dropped about 75% since I've been multi-streaming, probably because of the notification problem. So we are just streaming to YouTube today to see if people get notified, to see if that makes any difference. It is supposed to be Wednesdays with Skep today, but I think I wasn't able to get a hold of Skep. It was kind of my fault. I completely dropped the ball on checking in with him last night. So if he is unable to make it, that is on me because I forgot to DM him until this morning. And he, of course, has his grandkids and all that stuff. So, real life definitely takes precedence over internet stuff. So that was definitely my fault for not reaching out to him sooner. However, I have sent the link, and if he can make it, then he can make it. So today, we are going to watch, for the first bit of the stream, we're going to watch a Runkle of the Bailey video that was put out, I think it was Monday. And he's going over the very concerning problems with Bill C21, which is our proposed red flag laws. That is a response, I guess, to the mass shootings that are not even happening in our country. But, gotta be reactionary, right? you gotta be reactionary. So let's make laws to punish people for things that aren't even happening to us. It's great. It's beautiful. Okay. So we're going to watch Ian Runkle's video about this. I'm going to react to what the information that he provides and also react to some of the things that he says. And it's a very well balanced video. Like I do like Ian Runkle's stuff. He does try to be pretty fair minded. And shout outs to Pincalo for showing him to me, because hello, Cannibalistic Wizard. Yeah, look, see, people are coming in a lot sooner than I think it was the multi-streaming that was affecting that. Well, it looks like the multi-streaming is not going to be a thing that can happen unless I'm gonna have to just that sucks. Oh well. Share the screen. All right, here we go. So we're going to full screen this, and now we are going to play this.
Welcome to Runkle of the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. I know some of you might be tired about hearing about Bill C21, and you might not care about guns, but I really want to talk about a provision in that bill that is genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be a red flag law in regards to firearms. And of course, not every Canadian is a gun person or even believes that we should have firearms. But regardless of that, what Runkle is going to talk about today is very scary, and it is absolutely something that even non-gun enthusiasts or non-gun owners should be very concerned about.
And what I mean by that is I think that this will actually get people killed. And not just people who have gun licenses. This is something that puts every Canadian at risk. So let's have a look at what I'm talking about here, and that is this section.
Hey, Costin.
Application for Emergency Prohibition Order.
Yeah.
So this allows any person to make an ex parte application. And what that means is that that person is the only person who goes into the courtroom.
So yeah, this is important here. Any person, like any Joe Blow workaday person, can, with this law, in this, and now remember, this has not been officially passed yet. This is a proposed bill. But in the writing of this bill, any Joe Blow, whatever, can go into court ex parte. Now, those of you who have been watching the Amber Heard trial will, I'm sure, remember that term, ex parte. That is the term that Camille and everybody used when they were describing the domestic violence restraining order that Amber Heard went and got against Johnny Depp. Ex parte means that only one person goes into court, and the other person, the accused, usually has no idea until after. Okay, so any Joe Blow idiot who is pissed off with their neighbor can now, with this law, go and get an ex parte order to get. Well, we'll let Runkle continue.
The other side doesn't get notice. They don't get to respond. They don't get to present contrary evidence. They don't get to cross-examine. They don't get to do any of that.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be on the word of that one person who goes into the courtroom. So they can make an ex parte application to a provincial court judge for an order prohibiting another person from possessing any firearm, crossbow, prohibited weapon, restricted weapon, prohibited device, ammunition, or explosive substance, or all such things, if the person believes on reasonable grounds that it is not desirable in the interest of the safety of the person against whom the order is sought, or of any other person that the person against whom the order is sought should possess any such thing.
So this is basically anybody, like any type of weapon that is basically not a bow and arrow, right? Any firearm that is not a bow and, like a cross. He even said crossbow, right? So even crossbows. And this is, again, ex parte. So you can go into court, into a provincial court. Now, this is a federal law, okay? This bill is a federal bill. So this would be in any province. Anybody who can go in ex parte to a provincial court and be like, judge, I really don't think that this person should have their rifle or their handguns because I think they're a danger to themselves or to their wife, for example. And there's nobody there to cross-examine or call it out. And that's terrifying. And it gets worse.
So that's the language of the legislation. Now, this also includes provisions for a hearing in private, where basically the public will be shut out. Now, normally our courts are open courts.
This is important. Our courts are absolutely open courts. You can, if you have a mind to, go downtown to the courthouse, any court, a municipal court, provincial court, whatever. And if you want to watch what's going on that day, you have that right. Even if and Runkle's going to say this, even if there is a publication ban from the media speaking about what's going on at the time, the general public is still legally allowed. That is their right for them to be in that courtroom, regardless of if the media is allowed to talk about it or not. And this bill is talking about private hearings. Get fucked.
Where you can go in and you can watch trials on all sorts of matters. You can watch trials including on very sensitive matters, including on matters that have a publication ban.
Rapes, child, things that involve child pornography, child molestation. You can, like the Tory Stafford case, for example, there was a publication ban on the Tory Stafford case during the trial. That was still a public trial. People were still allowed in. The general public was still allowed in the courtroom. And
the media from reporting on it, you can still go in and watch those. But these will be these very ultra secret provisions, ultra secret hearings where essentially nobody's going to know, nobody's going to be able to go in and watch it.
Right.
And further, there's actually a provision allowing for orders denying access to information, not just publication. Usually in Canada, when we're dealing with sensitive matters, for instance, matters that involve, say, children, for example, we might put a publication ban that prevents people from actually reporting on it. However, this is an order denying access to information.
So that means, it's similar to the Freedom of Information Act. I think it's like similarly titled up here, where media has the right, after things are finished, to put in a access to information request. And by law, like under freedom of the press and all of that, they are required to receive that information. But this whole thing would, in situations regarding ex parte hearings and stuff like that, over these issues, these red flag issues, there would be a denial of access to information, which is absolutely antithetical to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and absolutely taken into consideration after the potentiality for a private hearing to deal with this. Like, this is not okay. Like, you read about, and I really don't like people that compare our country to a communist country. I have family that grew up in literal communism for 10 years and then dealt with the downfall of communism for the next 10 years till they came here. We aren't a communist country. However, the type of shit proposed in this bill is the type of stuff that you would see in a nation of that ideology. This behind closed doors, not allowing freedom or free flowing information, that kind of stuff absolutely happens in communist countries, and we do not need to be following that way of procedure, especially with our type of government that we are supposed to have.
Can't even get the information. This is really concerning because we have a foundation of open courts.
Yes.
Where we have the assumption that essentially our court processes have to happen in the public so that people can verify, so that we can trust that what is happening is fair. That's going to not be the way things are done.
That's part of the way we hold our courts accountable, is allowing them to be in view of the public eye. That is one of the ways that we as a society here are holding our court system to account. And the minute we start shutting things off behind closed doors and denying access to information afterwards, that is completely not what we are about.
Things are going to be done in these secret trials that are, again, ex parte. So there's only one side presenting it. Now, if that is granted, essentially it says, if at the conclusion of a hearing, the provincial court judge is satisfied that the circumstances referred to in that subsection exist, and that an order should be made without delay to ensure the immediate protection of any person, the judge shall make an order prohibiting the person from having all the stuff I just mentioned for a period not exceeding 30 days, beginning on which the order is made. Now, of course, they can then extend that later.
And you know they will. You know they will.
However, when that is made, it comes with a warrant to search and seize. So they direct that the police can then go in and search for any of those things, firearms, ammunition, etc., and seize them. Or even if the judge doesn't grant an order allowing that, the police can do so anyway. Now,
whoa, what? So even if the order is denied, the police are still able to go and search? That doesn't sound right. Unless you request a closed trial. Right, but there's still freedom of access to information afterwards, right? Like you can people can still request access to information when the closed trial is over. This bill in C21 has language that would, for these specific cases, deny the Freedom or the Access to Information Act, which is definitely not constitutional.
There are already provisions that allow the police to potentially get a warrant to search and seize in very similar circumstances.
Yes, there is.
Or that allow for search and seizure without a warrant if it's imminent. If somebody is in immediate peril, the police can go in.
Yeah, it's called imminent danger and probable cause. You dumb federal lawmaking idiots. Like, go back to freaking law school 101 and learn about probable cause and imminent danger first, please. Like, wow, okay. Okay.
However, this takes the police out of the equation entirely. This just puts it so that any person can do this by going in front of a provincial court judge. And naturally, the provincial court judge must be satisfied that the circumstances exist.
Right.
But they're only, as I mentioned, going to hear from one side. And there's not going to be any cross-examination. There's not going to be any contrary information presented. Normally, previously, the way the law is right now, before Bill C21 goes in, the police are involved, which allows them to do some investigation.
So yeah, this would take out the actual investigation part of the thing and go right to the court part of the whole situation. And then we add in the ex parte thing and the private hearings thing and the denial of access to information thing. And it's like, okay, no, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
For instance, they can say, hey, the person telling us that Joe is a danger isn't actually who they say they are. We looked into it and they say that they're Joe's neighbor. But in fact, there's somebody who has been threatening to kill Joe for some time.
Right.
This person who's come to us with this information is actually the bad guy. The provincial court judge can't check that. No. They don't have access to those police databases. They can't look that up. They can't see, for instance, that this person is somebody who has been convicted of stalking you, that this person is somebody who has been convicted of assaulting you.
Right.
That this is your angry ex-spouse or something like that.
How many exes are going to abuse this law? How many exes or angry neighbors or abusive parents of adult children or abusive children of elderly parents or so many other situations that I cannot think of at the moment. They never went to law school. Their daddies paid for them to get where they are. Yeah.
There's not going to be any opportunity for you to see who this person is and to say, whoa, you shouldn't believe this person because, and there's all sorts of reasons why somebody might do this falsely.
Right.
All of those checks and balances are going to be gone. And even after the fact, you're not necessarily going to be able to tell who made the allegation against you. What does this mean? Well, this provision, if it's enacted, will be a tremendous weapon for every angry ex-coworker, ex-spouse or ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend, anyone who's got a grudge against you, who's willing to go into court and not be honest.
Right.
And this happens
all the time.
Now you might say, okay, well, that's not such a big deal because all they're going to do is just, they'll ban me from having guns, and maybe you're not a gun owner. Maybe you don't care about that. But what you should care about is the whole search and seizure aspect.
Absolutely. Whether you're a gun owner or not, The fact that this gives them power to search and seize even if an order's been denied and without any, like, actual investigation, just a search and seize, that's not okay.
Because what that means is that they will send in, you might not have guns, but they'll certainly send some into your house because you're probably going to be looking at, 4 to 8 police officers showing up with AR-15s, kicking down your door, and being a little touchy if you happen to look the wrong way or reach for the wrong thing or react the wrong way to people kicking down your door to come take your stuff.
Yep.
As we just saw in the case of Roger Katanko out in Ontario, having these provisions where police are showing up to search and seize can result in fatalities, especially where the police think that there's guns involved. Keep in mind, this person who's gone in to make an ex parte application could have said all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah.
We're seeing a real rise in the problem of swatting online. There's various content creators out there, whether they're on the left or the right. If they're polarizing in any way, sometimes people, make false reports and do this. Well,
the amount of weaponization of the justice system is, and it's not new, right? People are just finding different ways to do it right now. Right. But people have been weaponizing the criminal justice system since there's been one. Right. I was saying to my friends this morning, before I went live, while I was taking my walk this morning, I was saying, as a species, human beings are disgusting. We are, as a species, just horrible. And I'm not talking about, what we do to the planet. Not just that. Okay. What we do to each other and the joy that we take out of doing it is really fucked up. Like, honestly, every human on this planet has some sort of a teeny tiny bit of a sociopathy to them. Like, there are nice individual humans, but if you look at us as a species, we're all pretty fucked up and pretty sociopathic. Like, look at children before they learn how to control themselves. Look at teenagers and how quick they are to just be absolutely horrible to each other. Look at any type of adult workplace dynamic. If it, like, any type of, if there's enough people, there's going to immediately start becoming in groups and out groups. We are nasty to each other as a species. And there are lots of people that will absolutely take advantage of this if it gets passed. Absolutely waste taxpayer money doing it. Absolutely waste court time doing it and police resources doing it. And a lot of other crimes are going to be at least unsolved longer because police will be busy carrying out revenge, ex parte, red flag bullshit. And I guarantee you, somebody's going to get shot in one of these searches and seizures because, and again, not all cops, but when you're in that sort of a situation, you're already amped up and adrenalized. And there are some shitty cops out there that don't know how to control themselves in that situation, and somebody's going to get shot.
Well, we've actually just created, or we're in the process of creating, a set of provisions here that will allow for that with relative ease and with the safety of an order that prohibits anybody from finding out who did it.
Yeah.
This is a
so they
real
can do it
concern
anonymously.
for me. I mean, I'm not a super public figure, but some people at least know who I am. And I may not always be popular. People may not always agree with me. People may not always like me. If you have an angry, former coworker or former partner or anything like that,
yeah,
they could also use this. This is, I don't feel I'm exaggerating when I say that this will get somebody killed. There's absolutely the potential, and the potential over enough time becomes a certainty where somebody makes a false report, and as a result of that false report, somebody ends up getting injured or killed.
Yeah.
We've taken scary. All of the, there was already a process for the police to go in and take firearms if it was necessary. What this does is it takes all of the brakes off it. And another group of people who should be very concerned by this is, in fact, the police themselves.
Yep. Now, Runkle has a great reason for this.
Because who is likely to upset people from time to time?
Cops.
Well, police officers are. And, who might have somebody go in and make a false report? Who deals with people on a regular basis? Cops. Who might have a grudge and a willingness to make a false report? Well, police officers do. If you're a police officer looking at this, think about the last person who you arrested going into court. How is the judge going to know that you arrested this person? How's the judge even going to know that you're a police officer if it's not, say, in your jurisdiction and, if they're 3 towns over doing this?
Right.
They're not. That's
the thing about Provincial Court. You could do this anywhere within the province. You don't have to be in the same city as the person you're accusing. It's a provincial court thing, not a municipal court thing. Hey, Lord Famine.
Tremendously worrying. And the inclusion of these provisions is going to be, we're going to see this weaponized as part of,
for sure.
We sometimes see the court system used in domestic violence circumstances where people will actually use false reports in order to get back at a partner.
Yep.
This will absolutely end up being used this way.
Absolutely.
I just can't express how much of a bad idea this is, how concerning it is. And, even if they put in everything else in Bill C21, and I disagree with tons of stuff in Bill C21, there's actually some stuff I do agree with. But even if they put in everything else, this provision should not be put in. This provision endangers the public. And yeah. Anyway, that's sort of my concern on that. I really wanted to share that with you guys. I also want to give a bit of an appeal here, and that is because Springfield Gun Club is currently fighting their own appeal. They won a court case essentially to preserve their rights to make decisions about how their range operates.
Right.
And to make sure that their range is a good place to go to shoot. And, if this is something that everyone can really agree on, whether you like firearms or not, if you don't like firearms, you're probably happiest seeing them used at the range.
Right.
So you're, having good ranges out there is something that kind of unites everyone on both sides of the divide of that particular debate.
I would love to be able to find a range that wouldn't mind having a blind person learn how to shoot a gun. If Pink Hollow and I could go and do some shooting or something, that would be awesome.
So right now they're in a court battle with the chief firearms officer. I'm not going to go through the full details of the appeal because it's largely on questions of standard of review. Right. And standard of review is super important,
but
it's also super uninteresting to
most
people.
Super
so I'm not going to
boring.
go through it in detail, but I will link their fundraiser in the description below. If you're in a position to do so, please go check it out. I note that lots of people have sort of stopped contributing to my Patreon for reasons that I entirely support. When I look at the exit interview things, a lot of it says people are saying financial times are tough, and they are. But if you have to pick between giving Springfield some dollars and giving me some dollars, please send them to Springfield on this one, okay? And if you are one of those people out there who's looking at your wallet and going, I don't know how I make ends meet this month, please, support yourselves rather than me.
Right.
I am
exactly, guys.
Helping me out is kind of a luxury thing. So yeah. That said, I do want to do my sort of thank you shout outs here.
So yeah, that's the video on the Bill C21 stuff. And it is absolutely very, very concerning. And I hope to hell that conservative MPs are pointing out the amount of bullshit that is in this bill. I wonder if CPAC is live yet. It would be cool if question period was up right now, but I don't think that they would put up question period just yet. I wish that I would that I had CPAC usually, like, I don't usually see CPAC even though I'm subscribed to them. I don't get a lot of notifications for them, which is kind of annoying. Because if Bill C21 is not being talked about in question period, it should be. Question period. Is it live yet? I want it to be live. Outburst. All the French stuff. Ottawa, we have ended our mandatory vaccine stuff, though. For domestic travel, anyway. Okay. Don't care about COVID-19 stuff. I just want question period. No, I don't think it's up yet. Yeah. That's frustrating. Oh, well. Oh, well. That makes me sad. That makes me a sad panda. Okay. All right. So, since I can't get us any CPAC stuff right now, let's read about some disability stuff. So, I'm sure that everybody in large cities is familiar with outside patios. They are the bane of disabled people's existence, whether they be like me using a cane or in a wheelchair or using crutches or using a guide dog. Outdoor patios are really freaking annoying. So we're going to read here about this. I think this is a story from Toronto. Okay. Where is he? There we go. Okay. Oh, nice. Costin says, I am glad I no longer have to wear my mask on the bus. Yeah, I thought the masks on the bus thing was done since May, so I've been going on the bus without a mask since like May and nobody said anything. I don't know if it's because I'm blind, but yeah, nobody has said anything. Anyway, so this is a story about Toronto cafes, outside cafes, I should say. Let's get to the headline here. As patio season ramps up, Cafe TO, Cafe TO's accessibility program comes under fire, or problem comes under fire. Sorry. This year, restaurants are responsible for installing access ramps for disabled people, which many have not done. Okay, I'm sorry. Are you complaining that the accessibility to the patios is not there and not the fact that the patios are literally blocking travel access? Are you fucking serious? Oh my god, I misread this. Because I did take a bit of a read at it, but I think I misunderstood this. Jesus Christ. I'm even more angry now. Okay, let's take a look here. Patios have started springing up along the city's bustling streets since the May long weekend, marking the beginning of the third season of Cafe TO, Toronto's sorry, Toronto's popular pandemic-inspired outdoor dining program. Because before COVID, there's no such thing as outdoor dining at all, anywhere. No, nope. There were never any patios outside in Canada during the summer at all before COVID. It was a completely new thing that happened. You never saw sidewalk cafes every goddamn place you went. You Why are people this dumb? COVID has introduced so many new things. No, it hasn't. Outdoor patios have been a thing since I can remember. And I'm 33 this month, well, next month. So it's been at least 33 years that they've been around in plentiful amount, especially in Toronto. Are they blocking travel access? We have a similar program here and they're designed to avoid this. It really depends on the city, Costin. Some cities are a lot more conscious of their disabled populations and others really just don't give a fuck. Like, I went to Kingston one year and it was me and a couple of other blind people that I was with that I am no longer friends with, but we had to travel along a sidewalk downtown and we had to navigate through 3 separate outside sidewalk patios from 3 separate restaurants, and there were like temporary fences and tables and chairs, and it was right in the sidewalk, like not off to the side, nowhere. It was all over the sidewalk. And it's It was bad. Outdoor patios have been around since at least 1600, right? I too am fat and won't or can't sit on those chairs. Yeah, the patio chairs, I'm not fat. And I'm like, are these gonna fall apart on me? Or if they're not gonna fall apart on me, look, I have a nice new grid pattern on my legs. You know? Okay, but disability advocate Luke Anderson has noticed a marked difference this year. Many of the installations aren't accessible. What about the fact are they blocking? First of all, I want to make sure that they're not blocking travel access because my experience with patios is that they do. So that would be my first concern, and then I'd be like, okay, now can I get to them? Right? Yeah. It makes me sad, said Anderson, who is executive director of Stopgap Foundation that provides one-step ramps to businesses. Patio season is coming, and it is our human right as Canadians to be able to access spaces on an equal basis. For the last 2 years, the City of Toronto has provided asphalt ramps from the sidewalk to the road for curb-laying patios. But restaurants and bars complained that the ramps were often put in the wrong place or location at the end, that the asphalt would crumble in rainy days. So the city was cheaping out on its access ramps. Awesome. So the city doesn't give a fuck about disabled people, and oh wow. Same, they're intrusive to me. They are block parts of the sidewalk, have debris and other parts that are the sidewalk that you can still walk on. Yeah. I fucking hate outside patios. They drive me crazy. And of course, usually, and this is like, usually God love the drunk people, but they're full of drunk people who are like, oh my God, look at you go. Good job. I'm like, I'm just fucking trying to walk, dude. I'm just trying to take a walk. Good job, blind girl. Good job. Fuck off. I'm just trying to walk around. Go back to your drinks. Asphalt ramps that were installed by the city in previous years did not provide the level of placement and operational flexibility requested by restaurant operators and business improvement areas. A spokesperson with the city's the city's business and transportation section said. So this summer, it's up to restaurant operators to install ramps and ensure that patios conform to the AODA standards. So instead of coming together and coming up with a way to work together, you're just like, fuck it, it's your problem now. Those guidelines include keeping a minimum of 1 meter to enter the cafe area, not blocking existing barrier-free access or sidewalk clearance for those with mobility needs, and ensuring railings or planters are cane detectable. Oh, thank God. The city said 803 curb lane cafes have been installed so far, with more to come. Thank God I don't live in Toronto. Holy crap. $5 says that the real issue that this person is having isn't that the access point isn't the quickest way to the patio. It's just right 5 feet to the side. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I was saying to Elwin as we were walking by them the other day, who would want to eat 2 feet away from cars? Not me. You mean Elwin lets you speak to? It's like, can you imagine you're sitting there trying to have a nice lunch and this giant truck comes rumbling by? You're like, oh, yummy, exhaust. A Toronto Star survey of patios downtown this week that included the Queen Street West and College Street and Kensington Market found that only 14 out of 50 were accessible with a ramp or a sidewalk level access. Another 50 had like pylons and blocks. Yeah, because no one gives a fuck about the disabled population unless they have an invisible disability and they can still work with you. Because if you don't look disabled, it's a lot more comfy than dealing with people who look physically disabled. That's why so many people who don't look physically disabled, who are, get the "you don't look" insert disability. And that's why people with invisible disabilities will be hired much faster than people with physical disabilities. There is a hierarchy. This is the uncomfortable truth here. There is a hierarchy of disability when it comes to how able-bodied people view us. And this isn't like a able-bodied people are bad thing. This is just a fact of life. It's how their brains work. It's how an able-bodied person just views things. And it's more comfortable to deal with somebody who has an invisible disability, even if it means that it affects the way they speak or whatever. They would rather go deal with that first. Then they will deal with the people in wheelchairs or on crutches or deaf people, right? Then they'll deal with the people who have low vision. Then, if they absolutely have to, they'll come and deal with the people who can't see at all, the people who can't talk, right? The like, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. It's true, but it's sad. And when it comes to access, there's a lot more acceptance that people with physical disabilities are independent now, but it is still a lot easier to like put it on the back burner, put access on the back burner or half-ass it than it is to actually work on it in full and get it working properly. And nobody sees the fact that if they do a little bit more work, then they could have a lot more customers. They just don't see the disabled person as a customer. That's the sad part, because a lot of people don't see the disabled person as having a life, having the desire to be a customer, having the desire to leave their home, having the desire to go shopping and have friends and have a job, have kids. Like, a lot of people, there is a lot better than it used to be, but there are still a lot of people that it just doesn't compute for them that a disabled person might want those things. It just doesn't work for them. Disabled people should be, for those people should be, shut up and kept away and, kept out of sight, and their carer needs to be doing everything for them, and they just need to not be around so that they don't have to be thought of. It's shitty, but that's how it is, and it's changing, which is good. But we still have a long way to go, and a lot of some of this overreaction to language overreaction to don't call this person blind, call them partially sighted. Well, what if they have no sight? Oh, don't call this person deaf, call them hard of hearing. Well, what if they have no hearing? Right? Like, don't call this person disabled, call them a person with a disability. Well, what if they don't want to be called that? Have you talked to them? Why are you deciding all of these things? Who are you to decide all of these things? And that's not helping either. This quickness to criticize language and how people are speaking to each other when we need to be focusing on how we are actually acting towards each other. That's a big, and it's something that I, in my own life, am still trying to learn about the difference between what you say and how you act. And, you can say things all you want, but it's how you act that matters. And so if we focus as disability advocates on language, then we're not focusing on the things that need to be done physically in the world around us. And we're too busy arguing and language policing people, and then we're wondering why nobody wants to do anything for us and help us out and work with us. Well, we're fucking telling them what they can and can't say. How well does that work? Historically speaking, how well does it work when you tell a group of humans how to be, how to think, how to act, how to speak? Not well. So why is it okay for disabled people to do that to able-bodied people and then expect to be treated with respect? You don't get to turn around. Like, this is my problem with a lot of disability activists. They treat able-bodied people like absolute garbage, even if the able-bodied person didn't start it. Even if the able-bodied person came into the conversation with the purest of intentions, the calmest of tones of voices, and the least offensive language possible. There are some disabled people and activists who, simply because that person isn't disabled, are like, fuck you. You're not broken. I hate you. You're a piece of garbage and you look down on me because I'm broken. Well, no, they don't actually. And that's your hate for yourself that you're projecting onto other people. How about you deal with that first and then become an activist? Because the more self-hating activists we have out here that are projecting their hatred onto people who genuinely don't think that we are garbage and broken, and who genuinely want to help, and who genuinely want to make things more inclusive, literal, like actually inclusive, not just with language and words. The more you slap them in the face and then demand respect, the more they're going to be like, you know what? No, fuck you. I hope you fall off the curb. I hope you can't come to this cafe because you're an asshole. Yeah, respect is earned. Exactly. Also, if a blind person goes to the hospital with a headache, take them seriously. Yes. Yeah. Oh, you can't have eye headaches. You have, like, because I've actually been told that you have prosthetic eyes. You can't have an eye headache. Really? I can't have pain right here, right in my orbital bones. I can't have sinus headaches. I can't have pressure headaches around my orbital bones because I don't have eyes in them. Fuck you. Like, the blood flow still exists. The skeletal structure still exists. The musculature is still there. Like, fuck off. We should go back to where respect is earned. We should. We really should. It's some people hate cripples so much they join the Bloods. Hospitals are the freaking worst when you have invisible disabilities. Just because you're not flopping around like a fish doesn't mean you aren't in pain. Yep. Yep. Exactly. It's and the thing about and mental health too, like the thing where people think that mental health isn't as important as physical health. It's absolutely as important as physical health. But it's also not a reason to be a dick. Right? Like just because you have mental health issues doesn't mean you have license to treat people like garbage. So it is a fine balancing act. It's absolutely a balancing act. And it's sometimes hard. But life isn't supposed to be easy. And nothing that's worth it is easy. Right? Nothing that's worth doing is easy. Nothing that's worth having in life is easy. So, yeah. Well, we got real deep and philosophical today. I would like to thank everybody for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to end it a tad, not a tide, a tad bit early. But I will be back on Twitch tomorrow morning for more Beat the Blind Girl and back here on Friday for more coffee stream. And Saturday, we will be doing a kind of like a mid-season, what do we think now of Strange New Worlds? So yeah, you won't want to miss that. That'll be at 5 p.m. on Saturday. So I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow on Twitch, and thank you for watching.